All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? It is Thursday, July 14th, 2022. We're here for episode number 533. And this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude. How often do you actually experience gratitude? A lot of people talk about practicing gratitude. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big supporter of that. But how often do you experience it without, actually having to think about it? How often do you experience it, just become overwhelmed with gratitude in your life? And so I believe that is one of the key things that people, who are really making a lot of progress in their life. And I'll speak to you guys about my own journey. But I really think that gratitude and how often you experience it is one of the keys to really moving forward in massive ways. And so that's what we're going to unpack this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
What's happening, folks? Good morning to you and happy Thursday. I hope you guys are having an awesome morning. I certainly am, as usual. Generally speaking, I have a lot of good mornings. So this morning, episode 533, we're going to talk a little gratitude. We're going to talk about, what gratitude does for you, the experience of, having gratitude or being overwhelmed by gratitude, and how often that happens in your life. I really believe is one of the indicators of just massive progress. If you are doing what you love, if you are living a life that you enjoy, if you're making progress, right? If you can look at your life and say, like, things are moving in the right direction, you really should experience gratitude. And experience gratitude is different than practice gratitude. And experiencing gratitude is kind of when it comes, out of nowhere. Like, you just kind of have this feeling. And, I had that feeling this morning. I was walking out of the gym. I was just thinking about, all the things in my life that I have to be grateful for. My friends, my family, my wife, my kids, business, and then I sat down at my desk here and I looked and, I said episode 533, right? And so, again, I was overwhelmed with gratitude that, after 533 times, people still show up here in the morning live. People still download the podcast. It continues to grow. People share it. I get messages all the time about the impact that this show has on somebody's life or on their business or on their family or their relationship with their children. And I was overwhelmed with gratitude, right? I just get that feeling of like, man, I can't, sometimes I can't believe the life that I get to live. And I started thinking about, how did all that happen? Because it wasn't always that way in my life. And I'm sure, for a lot of you guys who are listening, you don't feel like, it happens all the time for you. And so how do you have it happen more often? Because for me, it's happening pretty frequently now where I literally sit back and look and say, like, man, what an unbelievable day, or what an unbelievable moment, or what an unbelievable memory. And I'm overwhelmed with gratitude, right? And so I experience gratitude literally, multiple times a day. I don't know how many times, but the question that I have to answer this morning that I want to explain to you is, how do you create that? How do you practice gratitude, but how do you create a life that allows you to experience it? Meaning, it just kind of shows up in your life all the time. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that came to mind first, the thing that stands out to me the most, and this might come as a surprise to you guys, but you have to run your own race. You got to really stop worrying about what it is that other people are doing or what other people think, or, and I don't suggest that you shouldn't care at all what other people think, because I think there's balance to that. You got to have some context. If everybody thinks you're a jerk, they're probably right. But at the end of the day, you have to get you got to get your skis under you and you got to start headed in a direction, and you got to block out all the other stuff, right? You got to block out all the noise of the world. You got to get focused on what it is that you want. You got to set clear goals, and you got to look out in the distance. I shared this post yesterday that I'd posted 7 years ago. And you got to block out all the stuff that doesn't serve where it is that you're trying to go. And I believe that when you slow down, you get rid of all that noise, and you stop trying to keep up with other people, or stop trying to compare yourself to other people, or stop worrying about living up to, whatever you think society expects of you. And you really just focus on yourself, your goals, your family, the things that are most important to you. And those are going to be different for every person. You start to experience more and more and more gratitude, because newsflash, you're building the life that you actually want, not somebody else's life, not something that you see somebody else doing that you say, I think that would be a good idea for me to go do. Your life. And what I see happening for so many people out there is like this world of social media. And I say this often, social media, guys, is new. It's a decade or so old from a popularity standpoint, right? That's not a lot of time for people to adjust having access to see what other people are doing, or what they try to show you that they're doing that they may or may not be doing. And so this time in history is very interesting, because we can all be distracted by a lot of things, and we can not focus on the things that actually fill our cups, the things that are really important to us. If that's spending time with your kids, if it's, going out on dates with your wife, if it's making a lot of money, whatever it is for you, you need to spend some time figuring that out. And then you got to spend all of your time pointed in that direction, making progress towards your goal, making progress towards the life that you want. And I know, so many people out there say like, oh, live your life by design. And it sounds cliche, and it sounds, like a bunch of crap, to be honest, sometimes. And sometimes it is coming from certain people. But, when you think about it, living a life that you actually want, it is a choice. And you can design it, and you can choose where you work, and you can choose where you don't work, and you can choose who you communicate with, and, maybe who you create some distance with. But how often you experience gratitude, I believe, is directly connected to the decisions that you make. Think about that. How often you experience gratitude is based on the decisions that you make, both short-term and long-term, right? Because, here's the other news flash of the day. Like, if you want to change your life, you want life to get better, it ain't happening today. It's that, a little bit, like you might experience a little bit, but significant change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. It takes decisions. It takes changing behaviors. It takes, in some cases, changing careers or positions or the people you hang out with, and all kinds of stuff that's complicated, and it takes time. But what happens, and Bruce Pulver just shared something, and I have to share with you guys. He said, no more FOMO. For those of you that don't know what FOMO is, the fear of missing out. He said, I choose, I don't even know how to pronounce that, GIMO, glad I'm missing out. And man, I'll tell you, me too, Bruce. I say that with great pride. One of the things I still struggle with to this day is, having so much going on that I can't always get back to people. I can't, I can't talk with everybody that wants to talk with me. And that's a struggle. But if I don't say no, if I don't, limit what I can do, then I'm not living my life the way that I want to live. I'm living it to satisfy somebody else. And I'm living it because I don't want people to judge me, or I don't want people to, say, oh, he's too busy for me. Whatever. I have a lot of things that I think. But for me to experience gratitude, I have to be very clear about what it is that's important to me. And I have never, in 43 years of my life, been more clear about what it is that I want. The struggle is still the same to try and get there, right? Every day is like you face the same repetitive challenges and adversities that stand in your way of potentially getting there. but I've never been clear, and I've never experienced gratitude at the level that I do today. I've never had more times in a day and in a week where I think to myself, man, what an amazing life I get to live. And I don't say that to brag, because I know there's people that are listening to this or watching this that may not experience that may not feel that. However, I say that because that wasn't the same for me forever either. I didn't always feel this way. I didn't always have the gratitude and the clarity and the the demand on my time. It wasn't always the same. And so how often I've experienced gratitude, and the increase of that gratitude is directly connected to my clarity of what I want, of what's important to me, and about blocking out a lot of the other things or distancing a lot of the other things that don't contribute to that. And that is, spending time, talking about whoever, right? Call it gossip, call it whatever, it seems harmless, but it happens a lot, right? People, people really spend a lot of time talking about other people. I've reduced that as much as I possibly can. I'm not perfect at it, but I do it a lot. I have eliminated almost all of that. I revisit my goals. I revisit my vision. I revisit what it is that I'm trying to accomplish and what I need to do that, to actually accomplish it. And those things make it easy. Nick just shared something in the comments here that obviously is super important to this. Faith is super important. Faith provides balance, it provides clarity, it provides peace, and you need peace to be able to experience gratitude. You need a single moment of peace for gratitude to be able to sneak in. And I see for a lot of people, they don't have that peace, right? They're just constantly going. They're making all these decisions and moves and trying to grow so fast and trying to do all these things. And they don't really have any idea where they're going and what the destination is and why they're doing it. And so what happens is people make decisions because, other people encourage them to do so. They give them bad advice, whatever the case is. And they end up, instead of going north, they're going northeast or northwest. And they go for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles in the wrong direction, because it all starts by not being clear. If you're clear, crystal clear on what it is that you want, to Bruce's point, saying no gets a lot easier. It's not always easy, but it gets easier. And that's the key, right? And so for those of you who might be out there right now and you don't experience gratitude on a regular basis, you don't have it kind of overwhelm you, my wish for you is clarity. My wish for you is to get clear on what it is that you want. And it might take a lot of time. I used to go and sit in a park by myself that overlooks the city of Pittsburgh, and I would think, and I would talk to God. I would think, I would, just try to figure out what it is that I really needed to do and what I wanted in my life. Like, what did I want it to look like? And I'm not there. I haven't arrived at some destination, but I'm a lot closer. I'm a lot happier. I'm a lot more full. I experience gratitude a lot more often because I took the time to do that. And that time, by the way, guys, is different for everybody. How do you know how long it'll take? Well, it'll be clear to you. Trust me. When you sit there, if you don't have clarity, keep sitting for as long as you can and think. Talk to God. Talk to go through your thoughts, man, process everything and figure out what it is that you want and start moving in that direction. Start saying no to all those things that don't serve you. And, you'll have ups and downs with that too, where you slip, you say yes to something you should say no to, and you'll recognize that. But it's the greatest gift you could give yourself. That feeling of gratitude, it's way up there with some of the best emotions and feelings that you can experience. And so I wanted to share with you guys, kind of where this comes from for me this morning, because I think it's important for everybody to focus on it, to really measure, how much gratitude you experience, not how much you practice, because you can think about what you're grateful for. And I think that's important too. But how many times do you actually, in the middle of a day, just become overwhelmed with gratitude? And the best of the best that I know that are the happiest, the most full in their lives, they experience it a lot. And they have a high level of awareness of that gratitude. And so that's it for me, man. I just wanted to share that with you guys, give you some perspective to chew on this morning as you go into this amazing Thursday. And hopefully it'll make you think. Hopefully it makes you, recalibrate the compass in the right direction and, really invest into yourself, invest into your future, into your dreams, what it is that you want to do, because it's all possible. I look at my life often and think, man, I knew it was possible. I knew that a lot of the things that I get to experience every day were possible, but what a ride it has been to get here. And the gratitude that I feel for the life that I get to live, for you guys, for my family, it's incredible. I wouldn't trade that feeling for anything, man. It's just a cool feeling, and I want all of you guys to experience it. And so if you don't experience it on a regular basis, you should really look into that, and you should figure out what it takes for you to be able to experience it. So that's it for this morning, guys. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.